I divorced my husband thinking I could do better. Now I'm realizing I might have made the biggest mistake of my life. Hi, Reddit. I'm not sure if I'm here for advice or just to get this off my chest, but I've been spiraling lately. I, 34F, divorced my husband, 36M, last year after 8 years of marriage. And the thing is, at the time, I was sure I was doing the right thing. Now, I'm not so sure. For some background, my ex husband, let's call him Ryan, is, well, he's a good man. Stable job in IT, loyal, not bad looking, treated me well, and honestly never did anything wrong. But that was kind of the problem. Nothing was wrong, but nothing was exciting either. I felt like our life was just routine. Wake up, work, dinner, TV, sleep, repeat. He'd surprise me sometimes, but it was usually practical stuff, like buying me a new coffee maker because mine broke, or booking a weekend at a cabin. I used to watch my single friends post these glamorous trips, expensive gifts from boyfriends, exciting nights out, and I compare. I started wondering, is this all there is? I wanted more passion, more spark. Ryan wasn't boring exactly, but he was steady, predictable. Around 2 years before the divorce, I reconnected with an old college friend group. One guy in the group, Evan, 33M, was fun. He was spontaneous, adventurous, always talking about his next business idea or exotic trip. He'd flirt with me in a way Ryan never did anymore. I never cheated, but I started realizing I wanted someone more like Evan, someone exciting. Ryan noticed I was pulling away and tried to talk about it. But every time we did, I'd just tell him I felt like we were growing apart. Eventually, I convinced myself the marriage was holding me back from truly living. So, I asked for a divorce. Ryan was hurt, but calm. He didn't beg. He just said he wanted me to be happy, and if that meant letting me go, then so be it. He moved out within a month, and that was that. At first, I felt free. I went on trips, started dating around, tried new hobbies. Evan and I did hook up a few times. But I quickly learned that his adventurous lifestyle also meant unstable income, constant drama, and him flirting with every other woman in the room. That fizzled out fast. Fast forward to now. I'm single, in a smaller apartment because I can't afford our old house on my own, working more hours to cover bills. The dating pool at my age feels grim. Most guys either want something casual or are looking for someone younger. And the few exciting ones I met come with serious baggage. Meanwhile, I recently ran into Ryan at the grocery store. He looked good. Better than when we were married. He's been going to the gym, wearing nicer clothes, smiling more. And here's the kicker. He's seeing someone. She's gorgeous, mid-20s, and she looked at him the way I wish I had. They seemed genuinely happy. Since that day, I can't stop thinking about him. I keep remembering the little things. How he always made me coffee in the morning. How he'd rub my back when I was stressed. How he never once made me doubt his loyalty. I traded all that for excitement. And now I'm sitting here alone, realizing I might have walked away from the best thing I'll ever have. I've thought about reaching out, but I know he's moved on. And I don't want to be that ex who tries to ruin someone's happiness just because she's unhappy. Update. I divorced my husband thinking I could do better. Now I can't stop thinking about him. Hi, Reddit. It's been about 3 months since my last post, and I didn't expect to come back, but a lot has happened, and my brain won't shut up about it. When I wrote that first post, I was mostly feeling nostalgic and lonely, but since then, I've been actively spiraling. And yes, I realize I sound pathetic. After seeing Ryan with his new girlfriend Sophie, I couldn't stop stalking his socials. His Instagram, which he barely touched when we were together, is now full of smiling vacation pictures, hikes, dinners at nice restaurants, even a photo of them at a winery. Sophie is stunning. She has this natural beauty I never had, and she dresses in a way that's classy but still fun. I told myself I just wanted to see if she was real or just some rebound, but the more I looked, the more jealous I became. Not just of her, but of the version of Ryan she seems to have brought out. When we were married, I used to complain that he never planned big, extravagant dates. Looking back, I realized he did try, but I'd shoot down his ideas if they weren't special enough. He once surprised me with a weekend at a cozy cabin, And I remember being annoyed there wasn't a spa or luxury amenities. Now, he's taking Sophie on similar trips, but they look like they're having the time of their lives. One night, after too much wine, I actually sent him a message. Just a simple, "Hey, I ran into you a while ago. You look good. Hope you're doing well." He replied the next morning with, "Thanks, I am. I hope you're doing okay too." That was it. Polite, distant. And the worst part? No follow up. No asking about my life. No invitation to meet up. It was like he was just being courteous and moving on. It stung. In the meantime, my dating life has been humiliating. I went out with this guy from a dating app who seemed exciting, musician, artsy, adventurous. He forgot his wallet at dinner. Another guy ghosted me after a third date. A third one ended up telling me he wasn't looking for anything serious. But thanks to the fun nights, every time I come home alone, I think about how Ryan never made me feel disposable. And yet, I threw him away like he was a problem. 2 weeks ago, I had the nerve to text him again. I told myself it was just a catch up, but deep down I wanted something. Maybe closure, maybe hope. I wrote, "Do you ever miss what we had?" He took 2 days to respond. When he finally did, "I'll always appreciate the good times, but I'm happy where I am now." That reply hit me harder than I expected. He's happy. Without me. Maybe happier than he ever was with me. And here's where I'm really going to make myself sound awful. Last weekend, I ran into one of our mutual friends at a bar. After a few drinks, I started venting about how Ryan changed for Sophie, how it wasn't fair that I was stuck with bad dates while she got the best version of him. The friend just looked at me and said, "Or maybe he always had that in him, but you didn't appreciate it." That shut me up for the night, but it stuck in my head. The truth? I didn't appreciate it. I took his stability for granted. I criticized him for not being exciting enough, when really, he was just reliable. And instead of communicating properly, I convinced myself I deserved more. Now, I'm sitting here in my cramped apartment with my cat, who, ironically, was his idea to adopt, realizing that I may have pushed away the one person who truly loved me. I keep thinking about what would happen if I asked to meet up as friends. Would he agree? Would Sophie find out? Would he even care to see me? A part of me hates the idea of being that ex who can't move on, but another part of me is so desperate to just sit across from him again, even if it's just for coffee. I don't think I'm going to get over this anytime soon. And the worst part? I know I made my bed. I'm just not ready to lie in it. AITA for divorcing my husband because I thought I could do better, and now regretting it when he's moved on? When I, 34F, married Ryan, 36M, I thought I'd found the perfect partner. He was steady, dependable, and kind. He wasn't the type to sweep me off my feet with grand gestures, but he was there, every day, without fail. At first, that was exactly what I wanted. Ryan worked in IT, made decent money, and was always home for dinner. We had a modest but cozy house, and our weekends were usually quiet, cooking together, watching movies, or going for walks. He wasn't flashy. He didn't post our life all over Instagram, and he wasn't particularly spontaneous. At first, I told myself that was a good thing, that boring meant safe and stable. But over time, I started comparing our life to my friends. They'd post pictures from Paris or Cancun, expensive gifts from their boyfriends, nights out in fancy dresses. I started wondering, is this really it? The more I thought about it, the more our life felt like a cage. About 2 years before the divorce, I reconnected with some old college friends. That's where I met Evan again. Evan was different. He was spontaneous, unpredictable, and he made everything seem exciting. He'd invite the group on last-minute road trips. Always had some new, big idea. And he knew how to make me feel like the most interesting person in the room. I never physically cheated on Ryan, but emotionally, I was halfway gone. I'd laugh harder at Evan's jokes than Ryan's. I'd compare their energy, their ambition. I started telling myself that Ryan was holding me back, that he'd become complacent and uninspired. Looking back now, I can admit that I never once stopped to think about what I was doing to keep the spark alive. It was easier to blame him. Ryan noticed I was pulling away. He asked me more than once what was wrong. I'd brush him off or say we were just in a rut. Eventually, I told him I didn't think we were right for each other anymore, that I needed more from life. He didn't beg. He didn't scream. He just accepted it. He told me he loved me but wanted me to be happy, even if that meant letting me go. That should have been a wake-up call. Instead, I took it as proof that he didn't care enough to fight for me. We divorced quietly. No big drama. No messy legal battles. I thought I was doing the brave thing by choosing myself. The first few months post-divorce felt amazing. I moved into a trendy apartment downtown, started traveling with friends, tried new hobbies. Evan and I hooked up a couple times. But that quickly lost its shine when I realized he had no real direction in life and a habit of flirting with anything that moved. But I told myself this was part of the journey, that dating and freedom meant experimenting. I wasn't ready to settle again, or so I thought. By month 8, reality hit hard. My rent was higher than I expected. My bills piled up without Ryan steady, income helping. The dating pool at my age was rough. I went out with a musician who forgot his wallet, a gym guy who only talked about himself, and a divorced dad who told me he wasn't looking for anything serious. I found myself scrolling through old photos of Ryan and me. In every picture, he's smiling at me like I'm the best thing in the world. I couldn't remember the last time someone looked at me like that. Everything shifted when I ran into Ryan at the grocery store about a year after the divorce. He looked good, better than when we were married. He'd lost some weight, his style had improved, and he just glowed in a way I didn't remember. Then I saw her. Sophie, mid-20s, gorgeous, with this effortless beauty that made me instantly self-conscious. She laughed at something he said, and he looked at her the way he used to look at me. We chatted briefly. He was polite but distant. As I walked away, I felt something I hadn't in a long time. Envy. That night, I stalked both of their social media accounts. They were going on trips together, hiking, wine tasting, all the things I used to want him to do with me. It stung to realize he was doing them now, just not with me. I texted him a simple, "Hey, it was nice seeing you." He replied with, "You too. Hope you're doing well." That was it. It became a pattern. Me reaching out with vague nostalgia, him replying politely but without inviting more conversation. 2 months later, I asked him outright if he ever missed us. He responded, "I'll always appreciate the good times, but I'm happy where I am now." I hated how final that felt. So I did something stupid. I asked one of our mutual friends to test the waters. She came back with a simple answer. "He's happy. Leave him alone." Fueled by wine and bad judgment, I texted him again asking if we could meet as friends. He told me it wouldn't be appropriate given his relationship with Sophie. That hurt more than I expected. It wasn't just that he'd moved on, it was that he had boundaries now, ones that excluded me. The truth is, I didn't leave because Ryan wasn't enough. I left because I was selfish, impatient, and convinced that excitement was more important than loyalty. I thought I could find someone who made me feel alive all the time. What I didn't realize is that love isn't always a constant high. Sometimes it's a quiet, steady presence that matters most. Now he's giving that to someone else, and I'm sitting alone in my apartment, wondering if I'm the asshole. Deep down, I already know the answer.